The Revolutionary Uprising, how Black women entrepreneurs are building a new American economy. Welcome. Today, I want to share something revolutionary with you, something that's transforming our economic landscape right before our eyes, though many haven't noticed it yet. I'm deeply grateful to Tia Brown, whose groundbreaking research and advocacy have illuminated what might be the most significant entrepreneurial movement of our time. TI isn't just documenting this phenomenon, she's actively reshaping how we understand the intersection of race, gender, and economic power in America. Her work doesn't just inform, it transforms. It doesn't just analyze, it activates. And today, I'm honored to share what I've learned from her. What if I told you that the future of American entrepreneurship isn't being shaped in Silicon Valley boardrooms or Ivy League business schools? What if the true revolution is happening in kitchens, in spare bedrooms, in co working spaces, and community centers, led by women who have been systematically underestimated, overlooked, and excluded from traditional paths to wealth and influence? Here's a truth that should stop you in your tracks. Black women are now the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the United States. But this isn't just a feel good statistic to celebrate during Black History Month. This surge represents something far more profound and disruptive than most people realize. This isn't entrepreneurship as we've been conditioned to understand it. This isn't about following your passion or being your own boss. For many Black women, entrepreneurship is an act of resistance. It's a strategic response to systems that were never built for them to thrive. As Tia's research reveals, this entrepreneurial wave comes precisely as many organizations are rolling back diversity initiatives, as pay gaps persist, as advancement opportunities remain limited, and as the emotional tax of being the only one in predominantly white spaces becomes increasingly unbearable. Let that sink in. What we're witnessing isn't just business creation, it's a collective declaration of independence, a movement that says if existing systems won't make space for our talents, we'll build new systems entirely. This is entrepreneurship as liberation. But here's where it gets even more revolutionary. These entrepreneurs aren't just building businesses, they're reimagining what business can be and do in society. They're creating enterprise that prioritize community impact alongside profit. They're designing business models that center inclusion, sustainability, and cultural affirmation. They're proving that economic power can be wielded in ways that heal rather than harm. Let me introduce you to Leslie Frello, founder of the Wine Concierge. Leslie didn't just see an opportunity in the wine market, she saw an injustice. In an industry dominated by white male voices and perspectives, the contributions of women and minorities were being systematically erased. The products of their labor, often extraordinary wines reflecting diverse cultural traditions, were being shut out of distribution channels. Leslie could have continued enjoying wine as a consumer. She could have stayed in her corporate job with its steady paycheck and benefits. But she chose to risk everything to build something new, an e commerce platform specifically designed to spotlight wines from women and minority makers. The barriers were immediate and formidable: limited capital, industry gatekeepers who questioned her expertise, the thousand logistical challenges of launching a startup. But Leslie persisted. When traditional funding wasn't available, she secured a COVID relief loan. She built a distinctive brand centered on underrepresented winemakers. She leveraged digital marketing to reach customers directly, bypassing traditional distribution channels that had excluded the very producers she championed. Today, the Wine Concierge has evolved into a thriving enterprise with a quarterly wine club and regular tasting events. But its impact extends far beyond its business metrics. It's providing critical exposure for small brands that might otherwise remain invisible. It's building community among consumers who value diversity and authenticity. And perhaps most powerfully, it's helping transform an industry by demonstrating that inclusion isn't just morally right, it's commercially viable. This isn't just a success story, it's a blueprint for how entrepreneurship can function as a tool for cultural and economic justice. Now, let's talk about something even more urgent: the maternal health crisis facing Black women in America. The statistics are devastating. Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy related causes than white women. This isn't about biology, it's about systemic failure. Navigate Maternity, founded by a team of Black women, represents entrepreneurship at its most vital. These founders were driven by both personal and community experiences with maternal health disparities. They understood intimately that the existing healthcare system wasn't adequately serving Black mothers. Rather than waiting for incremental reform from within, they created something revolutionary: FDA cleared maternal health technology specifically designed to address these disparities. Their journey wasn't easy. They faced structural barriers to funding. Black women received less than 1% of venture capital. They encountered skepticism in the male dominated health tech sector. But they persisted, focusing on innovation in wearable health technology, building strategic partnerships with hospitals, and advocating tirelessly for maternal health equity. Their success, achieving FDA clearance, expanding into multiple healthcare networks, receiving industry recognition, represents more than business achievement. It represents lives saved, families kept whole, a precedent set for culturally competent healthcare innovation. This is entrepreneurship as direct response to systemic failure. When existing institutions don't adequately serve your community, you build new ones that do. The third story takes us into the technology sector, where Oak Theory, a Black women owned UX UI design agency, has carved out a significant niche by prioritizing inclusive design. The founders leveraged their backgrounds in design and technology to address the glaring lack of diversity in digital spaces. Like so many Black women entrepreneurs, they encountered both subtle and overt barriers: underrepresentation, limited access to large contracts, the constant burden of having to prove their expertise in ways their white counterparts never face. But rather than accepting these limitations, they focused on delivering high quality, culturally relevant design solutions and built strategic partnerships to access larger projects. Today, Oak Theory has grown rapidly, securing contracts with major brands and, crucially, mentoring the next generation of Black women designers. They've expanded their team, won industry awards, and established a mentorship pipeline that will ensure their impact extends far beyond their own business success. They're helping redefine what inclusive design means in tech and opening doors for others to follow. This is entrepreneurship as legacy building, creating pathways for those who come after. What these stories share is a common thread of transformation, not just personal transformation, but systemic transformation. These entrepreneurs aren't just building businesses, they're rebuilding industries from the inside out. As Tia emphasized in our conversation, this movement represents a fundamental shift in how we should understand entrepreneurship among Black women. It's not just about individual achievement, though the individual achievements are remarkable. It's about collective advancement. It's about creating new systems when existing ones fail to serve. This perspective challenges us to reconsider success metrics. Revenue and profit matter, of course, but so does representation, so does mentorship, so does community impact. For many of these entrepreneurs, success includes creating space for others who look like them. It includes addressing disparities that have persisted for generations. It includes building businesses that reflect values of inclusion, equity, and cultural affirmation. This is entrepreneurship as healing. healing from historical exclusion, from present day discrimination, from the accumulated weight of being underestimated and overlooked. And this brings me to the heart of what I learned from Tia Brown. The rise of Black women entrepreneurs represents something profound about how transformation happens in society. It rarely comes from the center, it comes from the margins, from those who have been excluded, who have experienced the failures of existing systems most acutely, who have the clearest vision of what needs to change. These entrepreneurs are not waiting for permission or invitation. They're not asking for seats at existing tables. They're building their own tables. And those tables often look different, more inclusive, more collaborative, more attuned to community needs. This is the quiet revolution that Tia's research illuminates. A revolution not of loud protest, though there's certainly a place for that, but of steady building, of creating new realities rather than simply fighting against existing ones. So I ask you today, will you recognize this revolution for what it is? Will you see these entrepreneurs not as exceptional stories to be celebrated from a distance, but as pioneers of a new economic paradigm that deserves your active support? Because here's the truth. This isn't just about supporting Black women entrepreneurs as a charitable act or a diversity initiative. This is about recognizing that these entrepreneurs are creating the businesses we all need, businesses that address critical gaps in our society and that pioneer more sustainable and inclusive models that demonstrate how commerce can be a force for healing rather than extraction. When Leslie Frello creates a platform for underrepresented winemakers, she's not just building a business, she's preserving cultural traditions and agricultural practices that benefit us all. When Navigate Maternity develops technology to save Black mothers' lives, they are pioneering healthcare innovations that can improve maternal care for everyone. When Oak Theory designs more inclusive digital experiences, they're creating technology that works better for all users. So I challenge you, how will you participate in this revolution? Will you intentionally seek out and support Black women owned businesses? Will you advocate for policy changes that create more equitable access to capital and opportunity? Will you recognize and amplify the innovations these entrepreneurs are bringing to market? This isn't just their future at stake, it's all of ours. Because a more inclusive, equitable economy isn't just better for those who have been excluded, it's better for everyone. The revolution is already happening. The question is, which side of history will you be on?